Straight all day.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. What is that? That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all these together to a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called work on your game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. You got a lot of choices in as far as what you're putting into your ears on a daily basis. So I appreciate and do not take lightly the fact that you are giving me your time, energy, and attention here. And I promise to always give you 10x the value on your time every episode of this show. If you've been listening for a while, then you're already proof that I'm doing that. Tell a friend. Now, let's get into today's topic is why you should trade money for time. Now, before we get into this, let me tell everybody, I have a motivation text message that I send out consistently, but the frequency of that consistency is up in the air right now because we might keep sending it every day at a very high cost, or we might send it once a week or twice a week at a lower cost. I mean, it's all based on cost. That's the only reason why the frequency is up in the air. But either way, I will be sending it consistently to everyone who's in my text community. If you would like to receive this message, and you should, because it's guaranteed to keep you focused, sharp, and on point, you want to get this message, just text me at my number, which is 305-384-6894. And every time I send out that message, however often it is, it will come from that number to your phone, and it's going to do exactly what I said that it's going to do. So text me at that number so you're getting that message. Now, in today's topic, why you should trade money for time. Notice that I didn't say time for money. Why you should trade money for time. Okay, it's the other way around. This is one of the most important things that you're going to do as a professional in the business world, even if you don't realize that it's what you're doing. And if you are doing business right now successfully in any area, you're already doing this, and you're doing it a lot. And I'm going to show you exactly how. And not only am I going to show you how you're already doing it if you are doing business successfully right now, I'm also going to show you how and why you need to be doing it more, and you need to be doing it on purpose. All right, so let's get into it. Point number one. Topic once again is why you should trade money for time. Time is the most valuable of your resources, and it is infinitely more valuable than money. Episode 609, the 5 forms of investment. Are time, money, attention, energy, and focus. Time is the only one that is more heavily weighed than any others. All right. Money, attention, energy, and focus are all pretty much equal. Time is heavier than all of them put together. Everybody got it? Time can be like 60%. Money, attention, energy, and focus are 10% each to make up 100. Because the other 4, money, attention, energy, focus, all right, none of those matter when you run out of time. And when I say run out of time, I mean like really, really run out of time. You have no more time in your life. Doesn't matter how much money you got. No. Doesn't matter how much energy you have. No. Doesn't matter if you have attention or focus. If you don't have any more time, no, because you're dead. It's over. You run out of money. As long as you got time, you can make it back. Any of you ever made a whole bunch of money in a short period of time? Okay. If you have no energy, you can go to sleep. All right. You'll have more when you wake up. If you have no attention or focus, and you drink a cup of coffee, go get some Starbucks, you'll be all right. But if you run out of time, don't matter what you have anything else. So that's why time is so important. In business, then, if you have staff, for example, or if you have ever hired somebody to do even temporary work for you, like you go on Fiverr or something or Upwork and you hire somebody to do some gig work for you, or you pay for any type of software or an application, it's not even a human, but a computer chip to do something for you so you don't have to do it on your own, or any of you has ever hired an Uber or what's the other one, Lyft or Uber to drive you from one part of town to the other part of town, what are you doing when you do that? What are you actually doing? If you think about it, you're using your money to buy time. That's what you're doing. If you take an Uber from one part of town to the other part of town, you just use money to buy time. Because, I mean, you could walk there. I mean, it might be kind of far. It might be uncomfortable, but you could walk there. But you pay Uber because you'll use some money to get there faster. That's what Uber does for you. If any of you ever went on, let's say, Fiverr, and you hire somebody to do some gig work for you, I mean, you could have did it on your own. It might have took you some time. If it's some kind of design work, it might have took you a while because you suck at graphic design. or it might have took you a while to figure it out because you don't know how to do this thing, and you would have had to Google it and read the manual and all that stuff. But you could have figured it out. I mean, if it was a gun to your head, you could have figured it out, but you didn't. You'd rather use your money to buy time. You got it done faster by giving somebody else money to get it done faster than you would get it done. Or maybe you could get it done, but your time is better spent doing something that's more high leverage. So even though I could do it myself, I'll pay somebody else to do it because it'd be better for me to use my money, use $10 to let them do this part. Well, I could take that same amount of time, that hour, that is only going to cost me $10, and I could go do something that's going to make me $1,000. So I'm making $990 that hour because I spent 10, but I made 1,000. You get it? I spent 10 to buy my time back, and I made 1,000 with the time that I got. You get it? This is what you're doing when you're in business. We do this every single day. If you think about it, how many of you grow your own food in a garden behind your house, and then you go pick this stuff out of the ground, and then you go cook it up and eat it as your meal? How many of you do that? Very few of you. All right, everybody here, I mean, not everybody, most of you, I'd say 99% of this audience, you get your food from someone, somewhere, something made it that was not you. It wasn't 100% done by you. So what are you doing? I mean, you could grow your food in your garden, in the backyard. If you have a backyard, you could build something in your house or something to grow your own food, but you don't do that. What do? You give money to buy time, because it would take a lot of time for you to do that. You had to build up the garden, give it time for the actual plants to grow. Then you got to figure out what to plant and how to make it work in the right temperatures and all that stuff. Then you got to let it grow, take it out, cook it, figure out a recipe, all of that stuff. And instead, you could just call Uber Eats and you can have a meal here in 30 minutes. What did you do? You use your money to buy time. So again, we do this every single day. We do it all the time. Many of you don't think about it this way, but that's the exact reason why the Work on Your Game Masterclass exists. This is my reason for existing in the marketplace, is that I'm giving you different ways of thinking about things that you either are already doing or that you're not doing, but you should be doing. Okay, that's what I do here, just in case any of you didn't know. All right, so you're using your money to buy time all the time. You are paying someone or something. If you pay an app or something like that, let me give you an example of an app. So I use an app I use a lot of apps. I spend a lot of money on apps. And I don't mean apps like iPhone apps. I mean apps like applications where I pay software. So for example, I use this application called Smart Mockups. And what they do is create mock-up images. A mock-up image is like an image of a person holding a phone and they're looking at the phone, and then you could put a picture on that phone, and it could be a picture of like somebody listening to the Work on Your Game podcast. And then I can use that image and I can post it on social media and say, hey, listen to the Work on Your Game podcast. And the image is like giving you the idea that other people are doing it, even though it's just a mock-up image. Or I can make it can be like a billboard or a poster board, and I can put a picture of myself up there to look like I'm on a billboard somewhere in some city. So what Smart Mockups does is it creates those images for me, so I don't have to create them myself. I mean, I could create them. I could hire a photographer, get somebody to get into that pose, get them to actually look at my podcast on their phone, get them to take the picture, and then frame it all up, and I could do that. That would cost me a lot more time and a lot more money if I did it that way, rather than just go to Smart Mockups and pay them $15 US a month, and I can create as many mockups as I want. All right, you get what I'm saying? So that's a version of paying a thing, using your money to buy time from a thing. But there's also versions of doing it with people. Like I said, Uber Eats is an example, or Uber itself is an example, or any of you have staff, or you ever hired a worker to work for you. That's exactly what you're doing. You give them money and they are giving you their time. All right, you get it? So use your money to buy time. When you purchase a nonfiction book, for example, or you pay to go to an event, or you hire a coach, or you sign up for some kind of course. So what exactly are you doing when you do that? You are using your money to get insights, information, and access to processes that will ostensibly help you achieve your goals faster than you would on your own. You're using your money to buy time. That's what you do. I'm a member of 3 different programs right now that I pay for when it comes to, and these are all business related stuff, because that's my biggest focus right now is business building. And the reason that I pay for those things is because inside of those programs and the conferences that I go to and things like that, and when I go to events, every time I go to an event, there's a couple $1,000s out of pocket, period. Between the ticket, the travel, the hotel, the food, and the opportunity cost of what the work that I'm not doing because I'm traveling. All right, that's a couple, you looking $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 out of pocket every time I go to an event. But why am I willing to make those investments? I'm willing to make those investments because the insights and the information and the connections that I'm going to make and the ideas that I get from going to these events or joining these courses or being in these programs or getting this coaching is going to make me more money than I'm spending. That's the investment that I'm making. That's the calculation that I'm making in my mind. And because I've invested, I'm going to make sure I make my money back. Because I put my money in, I'm going to get my money out. You see how this works? I've talked about this many times before. So I'm using my money to buy time. All right, this is what we're doing. We invest so that we can achieve the outcome faster than we would achieve it if we just did it by ourselves. This is what all successful business professionals do. From professional athletes to singers to artists to any kind of entertainers, from a person who's on TV to a person who's running a office to a person who is selling cars to people who do any kind of technology. We are all doing this. Every successful professional in business does this. They put money down up front. They pay money up front so that they can achieve outcomes faster than they would had they not invested the money. So hopefully you're reading between the lines of what I'm saying here, but if you're not, let me read between the lines for you. If you're not doing this, I guarantee you are costing yourself the most valuable resource you have, which is time. In other words, you are going to achieve your outcomes a lot slower, if at all, than other people are, the people who are investing. Point number 2, today's topic once again is why you should trade money for time. Number 2, wealth and rich. You know these two words that people throw around a lot? People talk about the wealth gap, or how people talk about being rich. Wealth and rich are not measures of dollars. A lot of people think they're measures of dollars. There's people throwing these terms around, don't even know what they mean. Wealth and rich are measures of time. They are not measures of dollar amounts. In other words, wealth is not about how much money you have, and neither is rich. It's about how much time you have. And let's talk about the difference between these two words. This is one of the failures of the educational system in the United States, is that many people think rich means having a certain amount of money. If you ask some people, what's your definition of rich? They'll give you an answer that's in the form of money. It doesn't matter how much they say, no matter what if you ask somebody, what does it mean to be rich? And they answer by giving you a dollar amount, they're wrong. And they don't know what they're talking about. I don't care how much they say. $1 million, $1 billion would be, $10 million, $100,000. None of those makes you rich. All of those are the wrong answer. Rich is a measure of how long you can continue to live your current lifestyle without having to work for the money necessary to fund that lifestyle. Should I say that one again? Because you're not going to learn this in school. So let me say it again. Rich is a measure of how long you can continue to live your current lifestyle without having to work for the money necessary to fund that lifestyle. In other words, how long can you keep living how you live without working for money? So rich is a matter of how long, not how much. Thus, check this out. Two people had the exact same amount of money in cash, but be at different levels of rich, significantly different levels of rich, based on what? The cost of their lifestyles. So for example, if I have a lifestyle that costs me $50,000 a year and I have $1 million in cash, how rich am I? That's 20 years. I can live for the next 20 years off my $1 million in cash because it costs me $50,000 a year to live. And that's technically not true. It's very basic math that I'm giving here. We're assuming no inflation, but there's always inflation. So technically it's not 20 years because my $1 million is going to be worth less and less every year. But you get the general point of what I'm saying here. Every year is costing me 50 grand. I got $1 million. That's 20 years. All right, you get it? But let's say I have a lifestyle that costs me $500,000 a year and I still have $1 million in cash. Well, how long can I last with my $1 million in cash? Only 2 years. Because I'll be out of money after 2 years. So at a $50,000 lifestyle, $1 million makes me 20 years rich. At a $500,000 lifestyle, $1 million makes me 2 years rich. So the person with 50 grand, they are much richer than the person with $500,000. Or I mean the lifestyle of 50 grand versus $500,000 lifestyle. So just because somebody has a bunch of things, even if they have a bunch of money, doesn't necessarily mean that they're rich. And the only way you know somebody's rich or not is you got to know what it's costing them to live how they live. And if you don't know that, then you can't say whether somebody's rich or not rich. And since most of the time we don't know that, many people throw around this term rich not even knowing what it means. Again, this is why I just explained it. And again, they ain't teaching this in schools. Wealth, on the other hand, in a monetary sense of wealth, because I've talked about wealth in other episodes of this show, wealth is simply, definition of wealth is what other people want. That's what wealth means. If you have something that other people want, you have wealth. Now, the goal for many of us, especially in the capitalistic society, is to turn our wealth into money. So if I have wealth, like I have information that people want, then my goal is to turn that information into money by selling it. All right, the process of turning wealth into money is called sales. Everybody got it? And the process of letting people know you have wealth is called marketing. And then the marketing leads to the selling, and the selling leads to money. All right, again, they don't teach this in school. They should, but the teachers are unqualified. No disrespect to the teachers who are listening to this, but I ain't lying. Wealth, in a monetary sense, is a matter of generations. In other words, can anyone after you, like your kids and your grandkids, live the lifestyle that you live without having to work for money? Wikipedia says wealth is, and I'm not saying everything from Wikipedia is accurate, but this one is accurate enough. Wealth is the abundance of valuable financial assets or physical possessions which can be converted into a form that can be used for transactions. Right? Isn't that what I just said? That's what it is. Financial assets or physical possessions which can be converted into a form that can be used for transactions. All right, what can be used for transactions? Usually we're talking about money. Okay, so they say financial assets or physical possessions. Now, a financial asset can be, I think what they're referring to is something like if you own some stock, or you have a CD, or you have any kind of like a financial asset. You got a nest egg or a trust fund for your kid or something like that. Those are all financial assets. But you can also have assets. They don't have to be a financial asset. Again, an asset can be your knowledge, because I can trade my knowledge and I can convert that into something that I can trade for money. So this definition is actually missing a piece. This is not a complete definition. Or a physical possession. So if you own like a house, you could technically sell the house and take the money. You could sell, you might have a car or some art or some jewelry that you could sell, and now you have money. Okay, so it doesn't have to be money. It can be a process. A process is an asset that can be converted in a financial transaction. Like, for example, if you know the formula for making Coca-Cola, is that worth money? Yes, hell yeah, it's worth a lot of money. You could trade that for money. If you own some real estate, you could trade that for money. If you own a piece of art that's worth something, you could trade that for money. If you own a business, you can trade that for money. You can give your business to your kids, and your kids can run your business. If the business is continually making money, you're giving them an asset that is worth money because the business is continually generating revenue. So this is something, again, they should be teaching in schools, but they don't. And you can draw your own conclusions to why, or you can just listen to my conclusions because I already told you why. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is why you should trade your money for time. Number 3, most people are on the slow bus to success. The slow bus to success. And I want you to understand something when I say the slow bus to success. All right, just because you're on the slow bus doesn't mean you're going to make it. All right, sometimes the slow bus is so late that you miss the plane. All right, some of you who are listening to me right now, please listen to what I just said again. Rewind it. Many of you are on the slow bus to success because you are cheap with your money, whereas it would get you to success a lot faster if you stop being cheap with your money and you are extravagant with your time, while using formulas that don't work and knowledge that is unproven, usually your own knowledge. Let me say that one again. This is very important. Everything I say is important. This is important. Most people are on a slow bus to success because you are cheap with your money and extravagant with your time. You are wasteful in the use of your time, but cheap in the use of your money. This is an inaccurate formula, folks. You want to use money to buy time, as I've already explained here in today's masterclass. Many of you are cheap with money because if you would spend it, you would get to success a lot faster. I already explained how. But you're extravagant using your time to do the work. The problem with you using your time to do the work is that you are using formulas that came from your brain, but you don't have the information to give yourself formulas that will get you to success. So the more time you spend on formulas that you came up with, the further away from success you are actually getting, and the more time you are wasting simply because you are unqualified to be the source of the knowledge. You get what I'm saying? You don't have the information to get yourself to where you want to go. So not only are you on a slow bus to success, you're on a slow bus to somewhere, but we don't even know where it's going because you don't know. You don't have the information. Everybody follow what I'm saying here? See, this is the person that I'm describing here. This is the person who is not getting the results they want professionally, but insists on continuing to do things on their own. And it keeps not working. And I'm talking about some of you who are listening to me right now. I get the text messages. I get the emails. I have the conversations. I know there are people listening to me right now that I'm talking about you directly. So you think I'm talking about you? Yes, I'm talking about you. I am, but I'm not, because I'm talking about like you and 1,000 other people with the same problem you got. And here's what they do. Here's some ways that you know when you're talking to one of these people, or if I'm talking about you, here's how you know that you're the one I'm talking about. You say things like, I need to work harder. I need to be more disciplined. I need to get more focused. I need to get myself motivated. And those are going to be the keys to your success. Somebody asks you, what's your plan to get to success? You say those things. That's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna work harder, get more discipline, get more focus, and be more motivated. Listen, I'm not saying hard work, discipline, motivation, and focus are not elements of success, but those are not the recipe for success. See, they're elements. All right, the same way you know how you put salt, pepper, and oregano on a sandwich. All right, that's what they are: salt, pepper, and oregano. All right, that's all you had. All right, can you eat a salt, pepper, and oregano meal? Okay, I'm just letting that one sink in. I just want to make sure that didn't go over anybody's head. Okay, hard work, discipline, focus, and motivation are the salt, pepper, and oregano of success. All right, you can't make a meal out of that. All right, you put them on the meal. If you ain't got the meal, the system, the process, the insight, the knowledge, then you don't have a meal. All right, they are accessories. And let's be honest here, folks. If all you needed to be successful was hard work, discipline, focus, and motivation, all right, that's all free on YouTube. Billion hours of video get uploaded to YouTube every minute. I mean, that's exaggeration, but it's a lot. All right, if that's all you needed to be successful, all right, you should be on YouTube right now getting all the success in the world. You got so much success you don't know what to do with it. If that's all you needed. What you actually need, now that you're done laughing at in spite of yourself, are insights, processes, systems, and questions that would never occur to you unless you got them from someone who has insights that you simply do not have. This usually comes in the form of a coach or some other paid professional expert. That's the reason why the industry exists, because people are not able to figure these things out on their own. I didn't just make this up today, did I? Now, this industry existed before I even came along. It still exists now and will exist later. Has any of you ever been to court and hired a lawyer? Any of you ever hired a lawyer before? Maybe you didn't go to court, but you hired a lawyer for something? Why'd you hire a lawyer? This is a serious question. Why, any of you has ever hired a lawyer, why did you hire the lawyer? Because everything you need to know about the law is written somewhere, all right? It's all documented. The law in the United States is documented and on paper for anybody to read. The tax code is documented. You can read it. You can download it and read the whole thing. It's thousands of pages, but you can read it. The law in every state, whatever state you live in, all the laws, the actual laws are all written down on paper, and they are public domain. Anybody can read them and download them and copy and paste and take anything you want from them. All the laws are codified and written down. Everybody knows this, right? If you didn't know, now you know. So technically, you don't need to hire a lawyer, because all the lawyer is doing is arguing law. The law is free. You can get it. It's all available. It ain't no secret. Everything you need to know is written somewhere, posted online. You can read it, and you can argue your own case. What's you need a lawyer for? Why pay the lawyer when you got all the information for free? The reason you hire a lawyer is because your lawyer has insights and approaches and processes to your situation that you simply do not have the time, energy, attention, or insight to access. That's why you hired a lawyer. Not because the lawyer has information. The information is free. The lawyer has insights and approaches and processes for using those insights, processes for applying the information that you do not have. That's what you pay for. Now, a lawyer might not be the greatest example, because the legal system in America is the most litigious. We got the most litigious legal society in the world. And some of what happens in the legal profession is no highway robbery, but the general point still stands. All right, why you hire a personal trainer? I mean, everything you need to know about being in shape is you get that on YouTube. Why you hire a personal trainer? Because the trainer is going to give you insights and approaches that you wouldn't get by yourself by watching YouTube. All right, that's the point. And every professional understands this. All right, high performing professionals understand everything that I'm saying here today. So those of you who are high performing professionals, all right, what I'm giving you here today is a cosign of what you already have going on. All right, and for those of you who want to become one, all right, what I'm giving you is a wake up call. A wake up call about how business is done by people who are playing at a higher level than you. And if you plan on getting to that higher level, you're going to do this one way or another. You might do it today, you might do it 10 years from now. Either way, your success is what's getting delayed. You ain't hurting nobody else. I'm just letting you know what the deal is. That's my job here. All that said, let's recap today's class, which is why you should trade money for time. Notice I didn't say time for money. Money for time. You're doing business successfully. You're already doing these things. And if you're not, I'm going to explain to you how everybody does these on one way or another. I'm going to tell you how to start doing it intentionally and doing it at a higher level. Number one, Time is the most valuable resource you have. Is more valuable than your money, attention, energy, and your focus. Anytime you have hired an Uber, anytime you ordered food for delivery, anytime you have eaten a meal that you did not grow in your own garden, what are you doing? You're using your money to get time. You are paying somebody else for that stuff, or at least some of it, and then you're getting the benefit from it, but buying yourself time. All right, we are all doing this. You have staff. You ever hired a gig worker on Fiverr? All you did was buy time. Number 2, wealth and rich are measures of time. They are not measures of dollar amount. If they didn't teach this to you in school, there's a reason for that. You should figure out what it is. Rich is a measure of how long you can sustain a lifestyle without having to work for the money. It is not about a dollar amount. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It matters how much you are using to live the way that you live. That's how you measure rich. And wealth is anything that people want. And you can translate things that people want into money if you know how to market and how to sell. Number 3, most people are on the slow bus to success or the slow bus to nowhere because you are cheap with your money and extravagant with your time, meaning you are giving away your time as much as you possibly can, even to yourself, but cheap with using your money. All right, and you shouldn't be giving away your time even to yourself if you don't know what the hell you're doing. And if you're not 100% sure what you're doing, you're not in a system of what you're doing, then you probably don't know what you're doing, and you should get some help with what you're doing so that you can achieve outcomes. You will make more money, and then you can use your money to buy yourself more time. This is what high-level professionals do, folks. They're not working harder than you. They're not smarter than you. They're not more talented than you. They're not luckier than you. They don't have some advantage that you don't have. They simply have insights and understandings that you have not yet allowed to get through your head. Now, everything I just explained, you already got it because I just told you. So it's not like you don't have it. It's just you haven't allowed it to get through. You understand it logically. You're not understanding it emotionally. So if you're telling yourself that, if I ask you what's your process to become successful, and you say, I need to work harder, be more disciplined, get more focused, and get motivated, okay, that's all on YouTube for free. YouTube been out for 20 years. All right, what's your excuse? So that's all you got. Now you need to do a little bit more than that. Actually, you need to do a lot more than that. What you actually need are insights, processes, systems, and questions that will never occur to you unless you got them from somebody who can see what you can't see. All right, that's why the expert industry exists, because people can apply information and interpret information in ways that the average person cannot. This is why we hire lawyers. The law is on the books. The law is freely available to everyone to read, see, and interpret on their own. Why do you hire a lawyer? Because the lawyer has insights on how to use the law that you don't have. All right, that's the deal, folks. Anyway, text me to get my daily motivation free of charge, or my weekly motivation free of charge every day. My number is 305-384-6894, straight to your phone as often as I send it. And go to workonyourgame.net. Those of you high-level professionals who are already playing at the six-figure level, you want to take your business to the next level, and you know you cannot get there by simply doing everything on your own like maybe you've been doing right now. Go to workonyourgame.net, watch my free training. At the end of that training, I'm going to give you a link to schedule a call with me. Get on a call with me. Let's talk about how we can apply this system. I have a system. This is not just hard work and motivation, a system to your business that is at workonyourgame.net. Work on your game. Dre all day.